Gold just hit a new all-time high. Platinum just hit a new all-time high. Palladium just hit a new all-time high. And silver just hit a new all-time high, now trading over $103 per ounce. And copper isn't very far behind. A 1-ounce American Gold Eagle coin is now trading at $445 above spot price. A 1-ounce American Silver Eagle is now trading for about $18 above spot price. And when now looking at the available supply, we are starting to see quite a few different coins like the 22s, the 21s. We've got the 26s. But we've also got 2007s, 2017, some 1991, some 1996, even the 1994s, and some 1986 coins, which is a very good sign that the available supply is starting to dry up. And the more and more it dwindles, as people start to sell their silver to the exchanges, they are immediately turning it back over and reselling it back to the public. And after decades of careful accumulation, gathering gold and silver at considerably lower prices when the precious metals markets were clearly being manipulated, all that hard work has finally started to pay off. And I know that somewhere out there is a stacker who, after carefully hiding his hoard this morning, woke up, saw the prices, and did this. And as always, this is not financial advice and is nothing short of the rantings and ravings of a man who not only believes that it is a good idea to invest in gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, but also to invest in gunpowder and lead. But do me a favor and hit that like button before we get started. I would really appreciate it. As many of you are now well aware, silver is trading within the biggest cup and handle pattern of all time, taking over 45 years to form. A pattern which I identified and wrote about in this particular article right here, posted on TradingView, which was picked up by the editors, written on September 15th, 2024, well ahead of the herd. And as you can see, since crossing this upper rim line right here at about that $48.60 level, price has absolutely gone parabolic and has basically been in the banana zone going back since price was trading at $17.72. But many people are wondering, how long can this continue? Is there going to be a pullback? Will there be a better opportunity down the road to buy and accumulate physical silver? When jumping over and taking a look at my primary chart, we can see that once Nixon closed the convertibility of the dollar into gold right here in 1971, the price of silver immediately went absolutely off the hook, forming this cup right here, which took 31 years to build, setting the second point right here during the run of 2011. Pulling down and forming this handle, which it then broke out of starting in about February of 2020, going on the run we are now seeing. Starting way back here in 1965, price formed a 5-wave move to the upside with an ABC correction and is now trading within a 5-wave move to the upside starting in January of 1991. With the wave 1, the wave 2 pushing up to the wave 3, which was the run that we saw in 2011, pulling down for the wave 4, which formed the handle, and of which we are now trading within the primary wave 5 to the upside. If we look back on the previous pattern that formed during the 1980 bull run when the Hunt brothers attempted to corner the silver market, taking a measurement off of the wave 3 termination and the wave 2 termination, we get this fib level right here, which is the 2.2 fib, where price pushed up here, setting the wave 5 termination, and then utterly collapsing. If we take a look at the subwave that formed coming off of the wave 2 termination in October of 2001, pushing up to April of 2011, pulling a measurement off of the wave 3 termination and the wave 2 termination of this 5-wave subwave for the primary wave 3, we can see that price pushed up to exactly the 1.618 Fibonacci right here before falling back into the wave 4, consolidating and forming the handle. Now, the price that we're currently trading in, even in regard to the wave count and in most regards, any type of technical analysis is not easy at all. But we can see that the 5-wave subwave to the upside, we are now trading within the wave 3 of that 5-wave move, which means we still have a consolidation period coming, followed by the subwave 5 of the primary 5th. This wave 3 is very strange looking, with a smaller wave 1, a slightly larger wave 3, and an absolutely massive wave 5 that we're currently trading in, which is the subwave of the primary 5th. And the only way that I've personally found to measure this to get any kind of an idea that may be accurate is actually measuring this off of the primary wave by pulling a fib off of the wave 4 termination and off of the wave 3 termination, as you can see right here. And in doing so, it gives us these fib levels resting right here, with the 1.618 sitting at $121.75. If you followed my channel for any amount of time, you know that my first target of 3 targets is $120 per ounce. This fib level lines up exactly with what I have been looking for the first target. And if we also add the 2.2 fib to this equation of fib levels, just like we saw back here with the peak, it would put the wave 5 termination point at approximately $282. But there's very likely going to be a pullback at some point once this wave 3 termination is put in, pulling back for the wave 4. And by pulling some Fibonacci retracement levels, depending on where this price goes, assuming that it goes to the 1.618, we could potentially see a pullback anywhere from about $70 up to about $87 range. And of course, if price trades up higher, say it trades up to the 1.702, we would see these numbers go up, putting the bottom marker at about $75 and the top marker of the 0.236 sitting at about $94.63. In my personal opinion, these would be the levels I would be watching for: the 0.236, the 0.382, and if things got really bad, because we have had an absolutely incredible run here. I mean, this is about as impulsive as impulses get. It could very well even pull down back to the 618. I would put the highest probability here at the 0.236. The second probability being right here, which is also very high, and the potential for it to pull back to the 618 being by far the least potential, probably somewhere around maybe 10 to 15%. But we are seeing an absolutely incredible run. And of course, if price just comes barreling through here and ends up passing these fib levels right here that we've set and that I'm watching, then of course we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, because as we know right now, we are seeing an absolute supply crunch, the likes of which the world has not seen in modern times. And at the same time, the dollar, being the world reserve currency, is losing buying power by the day and is doing its damnedest to become nothing but confetti, with the dollar rapidly losing its world reserve currency status as a result of a global loss in trust due to the fact that the government is addicted to the credit card and simply cannot stop spending, and with each dollar they spend into circulation devaluing all the previous dollars put into circulation. It's becoming more and more evident, not just to Americans, but to the entire world, that the dollar is no longer a safe haven currency and that we need to be seeking alternatives that can't be printed out of thin air, like gold, silver, platinum, palladium, Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, assets that have a limited amount of supply, and in the case of cryptocurrencies, have real-world utility. And by looking at the most valuable assets by market cap, we can clearly see gold is securely in the number one spot and is not even close to being under threat by anything below it. Silver is currently resting in the number 2 spot, which is bigger than Nvidia, Google, Apple, Microsoft, even Amazon, bigger than Bitcoin. And if we zoom down a little bit farther, we can see that platinum is currently sitting in the number 21 spot, bigger than companies like Visa, ExxonMobil, Johnson & Johnson, MasterCard, Vanguard, Micron, AMD, Palantir, Home Depot, Bank of America. And down here in the number 43 spot is palladium, which means that the top 4 precious metals that are trading are all resting in the top 50 most valuable assets by market cap. People are finally starting to see the real value. And the one thing that you need to realize is all these tech companies right here, none of these companies exist without gold and especially without silver. Without those 2 commodities, those 2 elements which cannot be printed, none of these companies would even exist. So which is the best investment? To see additional content that I produce that will never be seen on YouTube, come on over and join me on Patreon.